I'm delighted to introduce our next expert speaker, Loraine Martins, OBE. Please unmute yourself, Loraine, and a very warm welcome. Loraine is the Director of Diversity and Inclusion at Network Rail, which maintains and develops Britain's rail infrastructure. And again, a funding partner of Race Equality Matters. So fantastic. And I do want to say, just because they're funding, they are not on stage talking because they're funding. It's actually, we speak to about 40 different organizations and people before we get to the quality you're seeing today. So yeah, they're not paying to speak. I'll make that very clear. Loraine has been awarded an MBE and an OBE for work on diversity and inclusion. So Loraine, as a director of D&I, how have you gone about engaging your senior leaders and middle managers to drive race equality, and who have you engaged to support this?
Thank you, Javid, for the introduction, and good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're all safe and well. And it's been absolutely brilliant listening to Harvey and to Ruby, and I'm going to say Jackie. Yeah, hopefully I've got Jackie's name right. Somebody nod. Just listening to the corollaries and the kind of similarities between our experience. So there's a couple of things that we've done at Network Rail, and I'm mindful that I've got to speak really quickly. The big picture is we have a Race Matters program, which is based on data. So our data tells us that there are disparities for Black, Asian, and minority ethnic colleagues. Those disparities manifest themselves in terms of access to opportunities around secondments, promotions, also in terms of where the performance ratings are. So Black, Asian, and minority ethnic people less likely to get the higher end of our performance ratings, more likely to get the lower end, more likely to be in disciplines, and. So we're not dissimilar to other organizations. So that kind of says, that data tells a really clear story that something's not quite right in our organization, despite us being very nice people who want to do the best that we possibly can. So that evidence really has to tell the story, and we have to engage with our board, with board reports, briefings, champions, really telling the story about what's happening for those minority communities who are not getting a fair crack of the whip. And the Race Matters program is designed to address those disparities. And so our leaders kind of have to be engaged, and we've done the things like Ruby described, the Let's Talk About Race sessions. We've got sessions for our leaders about leading those conversations with confidence. So equipping them really with the skills and the confidence to host those conversations. And that's been really, really helpful. We've got reverse mentoring programs, and we've moved it into reciprocal mentoring so that both our exec, our senior leaders, it's a more egalitarian mentoring relationship. So not just about finding out about difference, but also then mentoring people on the leadership skills and behaviors that we want to see in our organization. And we encourage high engagement with our employee networks and apropos race equality, in particular cultural fusion. And we see lots of senior leaders attending the tea breaks that Cultural Fusion hosts on a weekly basis. So there's a good opportunity for our colleagues to engage. I think over the last year, the thing that I'm proudest of and my team are proudest of has been the Stand Up for Race Equality. And I know, Ruby, we're going to talk about that tomorrow because HS2 are adopting it. And that's been a particular important initiative for us in terms of engaging our senior leaders and middle management, because it's talking about issues that have happened within our organization. It's developed a resource where people can watch films about these situations. And then there's a facilitators pack, which the leaders, the managers have to use in order to host those conversations. So they will pick up things like being bystanders, microaggressions, unconscious bias, all of those things, and how to be different. But by engaging in those conversations and equipping them with the tools to do those conversations, that has been, I think, a significant shift in our organization. Over 73% have participated, and of those who have commented on it, we've got a 95% rate of people saying that actually it feels like it's making a difference. So that, I think my message really to everybody on here is that the engagement has to happen at lots of different levels. Raj said it in his introduction, There isn't a silver bullet, but you have to be, I think, quite planned, and you have to have a range of things that will hit different parts of your business at different indices. That's my 3 minutes for that first bit.
Thank you. And actually, within it, you did say something that actually was scored quite crucially in the poll at the beginning. Your lack of skills and confidence, and you're building the skills and confidence. And I think that's what's holding a lot back. And as you can say, it becomes organic in winner. Thank you. So what impact has engaging with the senior and middle managers had in the drive for race equality?
I think what I've been really impressed with is when they've come back to me and said, you know, as a consequence of doing that, we're now having more conversations. We're having even more conversations. And actually, I'm identifying things that I hadn't identified before. And I'm more confident to give feedback, and I'm more engaged in these discussions. And I'm learning, and I feel like I'm growing as a leader. And I think those are the kind of unintended consequences that manifest themselves because people are engaged. And I'm talking about those managers, and some of them are on the call here today, and you know, it's a big shout out to them. But those managers who want to do the work are absolutely bought into the fact that actually by doing this, they become better leaders. They get better performance out of their colleagues. They have better relationships. They understand their people better, and de facto it leads to a better output. So that's what we're seeing. We're also seeing people ask for more assistance, more guidance. So there's a greater pull on my team, which is a great thing, because that means that people want to do more and they want to do better.
So people engage in and not ignore.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And something you said a bit earlier on was about the importance of data, and I know some people in the chat have been talking about data. So Network Rail publishes its ethnicity pay gap. Has this supported the engagement of senior leaders and middle managers, and if so, how?
I think in part, I think it's more supportive of the people that we're reporting about. So as a Black person in Network Rail, I'm really interested in what the ethnicity pay gap says. I'm really interested in the gender pay gap. And actually what we've done in our pay gap is talk about intersectionality so that you can dissect it even further. So we can look at age and race and gender and so it's a beautiful tool for enabling us, one, to show what we're doing, to tell the story, which is actually we're trying to grow as a more diverse organization. So we're trying to bring in more people from different backgrounds into our business. And at the start, we anticipate, and we're seeing that the pay gap might be attenuated, might be extended. Yeah. But as we grow and as we retain those people, and as they go up in the, and their trajectory improves, then our pay gap will reduce. So, and we've also been really clear to differentiate between the pay gap and equal pay, because sometimes people get those two things mixed up. So it's a really great tool for us telling the story, for us exemplifying the things that we're doing, and being really transparent about what's working and where we have to improve. And that is a source of engagement for all of our employees, but in particular, I think the groups for whom we're reporting about.
Thank you. And as for, I did for Jackie and Harvey, I'll give you a final minute to top tips you'll give to other D&I leads who may find all this
brilliant.
difficult.
So I absolutely, I had a little tip list, and as Ruby was talking and Jackie was talking, I was going to tick, yes, data, tick, yes, execs want to tick, yes, strategy, tick. So the things that haven't been said, and this is for diversity leads, I think you need to be bold, you need to be brave, and you need to be ambitious. So the boldness is about speaking truth to power. It's absolutely holding the integrity of the data, the integrity of the issues, the issues of the lived experience of people who are not getting a fair crack of the whip in your organization. You hold that baton and you present that to your leadership at every opportunity. So that's your boldness, and that's your braveness, and that's your ambition. And you have to be resilient. So remember, this is not about you as an individual. And Jagtar put in the chat the corollary, which I often use. People tell you about diversity and inclusion, and they say, oh, we don't really need diversity and inclusion because it's everybody's responsibility. And Jagtar used the example, and I'll paraphrase it as I normally describe it. In organizations, we ask every single individual to be responsible for the financial performance of a business. So everybody in an organization knows how to knows the budget, knows how to spend the money. We're all accountable in some way, and yet still you need a chief finance officer who oversees and creates the framework for finance. Diversity and inclusion is no different to that kind of discipline. So it's not about you as an individual, it's about the business and the business driving improvements and or transformation and or cultural change to do better. And de facto, it needs to be treated in a very rigorous and very serious way. So that would be my offering to diversity and inclusion leads, and to any other business here that don't have leads. If you're serious, you need to resource this work appropriately.